Simon Hobson was not used to odd correspondence. Even so, he hesitated when, on a wet November morning, a parcel arrived with no note and only a smudged Pembrokeshire postcode. Inside was a thin, leather-bound notebook, old, damp-edged, and unmistakably authentic. It belonged to Dr. James Turner, a minor 19th century antiquarian. Most pages held routine material, sketches, scraps of folklore, rough maps. Then Hobson reached the final entries. The handwriting deteriorated into cramped, frantic scrawl. One sentence appeared repeatedly. He does not like to be disturbed. There was no explanation, only directions to a ruined farmstead. Hobson told himself to ignore it. Of course, his curiosity, though, coupled with his instinct for a story, drew him to the site only 2 days later. The place was nothing more than 3 collapsed walls and a fallen gate, deserted and eerily still. He opened the notebook and read aloud the final pages, partly just to break the silence. Nothing unusual until a line struck him cold. He keeps the boundary between what was and what must not return. Hobson read on. If one crosses unbidden, he attends to the trespass. A sound interrupted him. A scraping. Stone on slate. Slow, deliberate. Hobson froze. No wind. No sheep. But the dragging moved behind the ruins, then stopped. Hello? He called. Silence. He lowered his gaze to the sketch of Dr. Turner. 3 upright stones forming a narrow doorway. Beneath them, do not step between them after the light fails. Just beyond the fallen gate, where moments earlier there had been nothing, now stood 3 rough stones, arranged exactly as in Turner's sketch. A narrow, unnatural grouping of stones. The space between them was wrong, too dark, as though the dusk gathered only there. The scraping had ceased. The air tightened, colder, heavy with attention. The darkness between the stones seemed to lean forward. Not a figure, not a shape, but a presence, aware and displeased. Hobson backed away. When the darkness shifted again, as though preparing to step out, he fled down the track, over the muddy ruts, until he reached his car. He drove without looking once in the mirrors. For days and days he avoided that notebook. He tried to rationalize what had happened, but on the 4th morning, an unmarked envelope slid through his letterbox. Inside a single type sheet. You crossed a boundary that is not yours. The past is patient, but he is not. A faint dusting of slate marked the bottom edge. Hobson never returned to that place, but sometimes, late at night, when the house is still, he hears that slow, deliberate dragging, as if something is searching for the trespasser who disturbed him.